I've met a few of the cast members of Dance Mums, but that was long before I understood that everything that happened on Dance Mums wasn't exactly as it seemed. And since I live in another country, I'm not exactly going to run into any of them on the street anytime soon. But if I did meet any of the cast members and had the opportunity to ask them anything, here are the questions that I still have about the Dance Mums experience. Please note that I've deliberately tried to leave out questions that run along the lines of how could you do this or that, because then we'd be here all day. Welcome back to my series, Dance Mums Uncovered. It would be amazing to have any of the mums who are on the show answer the following questions. Were there things on set that you did because you knew it would make interesting television? Do you suspect that the producers orchestrated some of the music skipping? Did the producers used to brief you before you started filming for the day? What kinds of things did they tell you? Do you worry that the show might contribute to young fans feeling bad about their bodies due to the frequent body shaming comments that were made? I would specifically ask Melissa, did you worry about Sia's relationship with Maddie? Why or why not? What do you consider to be crossing the line when it comes to mentor-mentee relationships? Can you tell us how Sia managed to get your family out of your contracts? I'd say to Jill, lots of fans have accused you of bullying Brynn in seasons 6 and 7 of Dance Mums. Did you feel bad that Brynn sometimes felt attacked by the mums?
There was weeks where I felt like there was moms on the show that literally personally attacked me for a whole week.
I would like to hear from Holly on the following topics. We've heard from cast members that Abby called Nia a little tootie, that she said that her braids look like worms, and that she made fun of her R&D diagnosis.
I had braids on the show once, and my dance teacher told me that I wasn't allowed to have them because they were distracting, they looked ugly, and they basically looked like worms, so I had to take them out.
R&D and CRPS are very difficult to prove and for people to take seriously. Even when I was talking about it on the show, Abby made fun of it.
How do you even begin to discuss these situations with Nia? How did you build her confidence back up? Also, I'd love to hear your take on the 2 Sapphires situation. Do you think it was premeditated to aggravate Christi and Kelly? I'd ask Christi, did you really threaten to sue the network to leave the show? Were you just released from your contract, or did you get something else?
Well, she had sued the network when she left. And I think there was a clause in there that, of course, I didn't see, or my attorney didn't see, that she could come back.
You once mentioned that back at the beginning of the show, the mum's lawyer was playing the other side.
We should have never listened to our attorney on anything.
No, because he was working for the other side.
Did he turn out to be paid by the production company to look out for their best interests? I would ask Kira, what happened the day that Abby fought with you and took her shirt off? What made you so upset? Did she just call you a bad mother, or did something else happen? I would ask Yolanda multiple questions, including, did you know about the allegations against Tiffany Rachelle when you let Elliana work with her? Did the mature nature of the YouTube content that she made not disturb you? Didn't you find it odd that she wouldn't allow parents to be there when they filmed?
Well, we didn't know a lot of the things that were going on. We weren't allowed to be there.
I'd want to ask Jess, do you believe that fame is worth the sacrificing of one's childhood? Especially since JoJo herself has claimed that she never had one because she was working from the age of 9.
Oh, you had the worst childhood ever. No. You got to go to Australia, London, United Kingdom. I just didn't have a childhood.
Do you see any similarities between how you treated JoJo as a child and the way that she treated the XOMG pop girls? When JoJo first signed to Nickelodeon, you've mentioned that you were advised not to do a show with Dan Schneider.
We went into a meeting and they said, what do you want? And she said, I want a Dan Schneider show. And they said, no, you don't. And we're like, okay, cool. We didn't know.
Were there any other indicators that things may not be safe for child actors on the sets of Nickelodeon? I would ask Melissa and Kelly, how could production threaten to take your kids away?
Well, Jeff Collins, who, he threatened me. He threatened a lot of us, but he threatened me. He told me he was going to own my kids.
That's what they told me when I left.
Did they threaten to show unflattering footage of you from the show to a courtroom to get you deemed an unfit parent? I'd like to hear Christi and Kelly answer the following questions. When did Abby's teaching tactics begin to concern you? Why didn't you leave her studio when the inappropriate gifts, bullying, and body shaming first began? And based on these claims from your podcast,
The cast had literally no time off ever during filming, and she repeats 150 times, 39 weeks or whatever. So imagine 39 weeks we're away from home. 39 weeks our kids did nothing but dance. 39 weeks of just 70-hour work weeks.
Maneuver, dance, and school, and sleep,
and filming a show, and travel, and our other, it was a lot.
why did you take your kids all over the country to do meet and greets on their time off? Especially when you claim that the kids worked so hard and were tired after filming so much. And finally, I'd ask Melissa, Holly, and Jill, did you hear Abby make fun of Chloe's eye in season 4 nationals? Why didn't you go out to comfort Christi and Chloe? Were you too afraid of how Abby would react? And were you instructed not to contact them afterwards? I don't have as many questions for the girls, especially since they struggle to recall the details of their experience on the show. But I'd like to know their thoughts on the following. What's the craziest thing that your mum did for Dance Mums? I would ask Jojo specifically, do you understand that the girls weren't fans of the show like you were? That they didn't idolise Abby as a character or try to create iconic moments for television? Do you realise that abuse is still abuse, even if you also do a few nice things for your victim?
I can give the other girls sympathy, right? They see the drama, and so that's just what they remember because that's what they've been conditioned to remember.
How do you not remember me buying you your first pair of point shoes for your birthday?
Right.
Like what? Like
because
that's
was
this so
not
close.
gonna benefit them in any way.
And to Chloe, Brooke, Paige, Kendall, Kalani, and Jojo, did you find it weird that Brian was trying so hard to fit in with you guys after the reunion special, even getting a matching tattoo, despite everything that he put you through? My list of questions was a lot longer before I ruled out all the how could you questions, but here are some of the things that I'd like to hear Abby's take on. How did you feel about Brian Stinson filming you during your darkest days in hospital? Did it feel like the production company was taking advantage of your illness? How many times did you receive money from the production company just because someone swore on set? You've said that you're a fan of the show The Facts of Life.
Another one of my favorite people too is Mindy Kahn. Facts of Life.
Yeah.
I love because that was my show,
So did you really call Nia a little tootie? Did the kids receive iPads as gifts because of this comment? Did it ever make you angry when the kids benefited from your poor behaviour? Do you believe that you've ever crossed boundaries when it comes to being appropriate with your students? Was it going too far when you called your students your daughters, manipulated them to obey you over their parents, slept in the same bed as them, and even kissed one of them on television?
You have to go to these dance conventions, there's 10 people in the room, and we're all like sideways in the beds,
Do you believe that Energy Dance Competition was the only rigged competition you attended during the show? Do you understand how hard it can be for dancers to apply corrections? That sometimes they try their absolute best to fix their technique, but they just simply couldn't get it right? Do you understand that in moments like that, the girls could have been even more flustered and frustrated than you were? You've praised the child gymnasts who left their homes to train with the Karolyis, saying that they were being independent.
Look at all the kids that leave their homes and go train with Bella Crowley for the Olympics. They leave their homes, they leave their schools, their friends, their neighborhood, because they are there to train. And I'm sure he's not Mr. Personality and ha 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 all the time. That's why we're winning now.
Have you heard of the horrible things that happened at those training camps? Do you see how the dance world and the gymnastics world can be dangerous, especially when children are separated from their parents? Do you understand why it's concerning when you say that your favourite students often have absent parents?
I think a lot of times the kid that's my favorite is a kid that really doesn't have a good mom that's in the picture.
There were plenty of events that those of us who weren't present on set never saw. But there were many witnesses of these behind-the-scenes events in the form of audiovisual operators and general crew members. Assuming that they're not all bound by confidentiality agreements, I would like to know the following. What is something that you couldn't believe you were seeing unfold on set? Did you ever feel bad for not stepping in during some situations? Was your job ever threatened by producers? Did you ever watch the episodes and realise that important details had been edited out? Were you ever told to do something that didn't feel morally right to do? And did you do it anyway? And finally, here are some general questions that I think would shed more light on what it was like to be in the filming environment. What was the culture like on the Dance Moms set? Did you feel a lot of pressure to say or do things that you normally wouldn't? How did the vibe on the set of Dance Moms change over the years that you were there? Was there ever a scene so fake that you thought everyone would realise just how fake it was? What's the most surprising editing you saw on the show? Do you remember the producers having any plots to create drama that failed miserably? Do you genuinely think that some of the competitions were rigged?
Some of the scores were fixed, in my opinion. Now, I could be wrong with this, but it makes total sense because one time I saw our main producer, not gonna name names, but our main producer was talking to the head judge and he had a pen and it looked like he was like crossing things off or switching stuff, and then that's right when awards happened because awards was put off so our producer could do that.
Did you ever see producers talking to the judges or writing on their score sheets before awards? Is the only reason why you have defended the competitions because you wanted to give credibility to the girls' wins? So what do you guys think? Are there any other burning questions that you'd like to see the Dance Moms cast answer? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.